Uh, Success in being successful in business, particularly at the senior level, really depends on knowing a lot about the business that you're operating on. If you don't know the business, you have a minimal chance of really being a success at the highest echelon, which is different than being able to write a news story of one kind, which you need to know that too. But there's a great emphasis on where I'm moving into is the field of public relations education. And what I want to say is, how much do you really need to know about public relations as a discipline from an educational standpoint to be successful as you do about business and human nature and that sort of thing?
Well, I think you need to know both. And, I don't know that you necessarily have to have formal training in public relations to be successful at it. I had journalism training, and I think it's close, but not the same thing. But I think I learned the basics of public relation on the job, and I think you do have to know about it. Where you get the knowledge isn't as important as the fact that you have it. And I think you need to be, as you suggest, very deeply acquainted with the fundamentals of the business, or you won't be able to operate effectively. But you also have to understand the essence of public relations in order to be a professional leader of your function.
What about educational experiences? You look for any particular type of educational experience in either new hires or senior people?
I love it when I find journalism experience and journalism training, but I don't necessarily think that formalized public relations or journalism training is critical to success. I think that experience is. And if you've got a law degree or an economics degree or a business degree, and yet you've proven that you can function effectively as a communicator, I think that's just fine.
What about mid-career education for your employees or others? What's most useful for more public relations training, or maybe learning about finance or law or history, or maybe even going back for a liberal arts course? What would you suggest would be most useful for somebody who is aspiring to a top job?
Well, I think it depends on what you've got and what you need. So, I mean, it really would depend. If you've got somebody who's got a really strong business or legal background who doesn't have as broad a PR understanding as you'd like, then you'd want them to get some PR training. Contrariwise, if you got a real whiz at PR who doesn't really get the business stuff, then you'd want to get the business or financial training. So I would really say there's no way to generalize it. And I think I think there's a really important point here, and that is that each individual has development needs. Each individual has strengths and development needs, and we spend a lot of time trying to individualize our approach so that each person has an opportunity to sit with his or her manager, make an assessment of strengths and opportunities, and to create a development plan that's right for that person. And it's going to be different for each person.
You mentioned your experience at Aetna with the creation of the Aetna Way, which has obviously been a very effective thing for that corporation. I'm just wondering if there are other things that have occurred to you as you've seen that work effectively, that the Page Society or other groups could be instrumental in, helping to establish, like, I don't know, it's training in ethics per se, or other things that would help corporations function better, and particularly American corporations be known throughout the world, not only for their innovativeness and their productivity gains, but for being just great ethical operations, people or companies that you want to do business with. You're in the swim of things.
Yeah.
You know far better than I do, but what the current situation is. But are there things that you sense that could do to help American business improve its, quote, ethical reputation, besides things like the building trust activity? Kind of a convoluted question.
Well, you know, again, I think that's what we're searching for, and I appreciate your reference to the Aetna Way, because I think that the Aetna Way, the J&J Credo, others like it, really are something that can distinguish corporations and make them become more trustworthy, not because they have them and they put them up on the wall and that should somehow be admired, but because if they're done correctly, they can actually change the way you operate. And if they do that and lead you to be institutions that are not only dedicated to ethics and integrity, but also dedicated to understanding the needs of and relating to the needs of public constituencies, then it's sort of who you really are as opposed to what you say that is critically important. And if a credo or a set of values can make you fundamentally operate that way, then that's how you earn trust. It's day by day, in the marketplace, in the way you conduct your business, with a compass and a set of ethics.